Let's get started with our first news. Last night, we had a very interesting fight card, and alongside it came some unexpected UFC updates. During the broadcast, it was officially confirmed that Bo Nickal's upcoming fight against Rodolfo Vieira at UFC 322 has been demoted from the main card down to the prelims. This change surprised a lot of fans, especially considering how much hype Bo Nickal has carried since joining the UFC. Many expected his fight to remain on the main card, but it looks like the promotion had other plans for this event. According to the updated lineup, the bout between Beneil Dariush and Benoit Santini will now take over Bo Nickal's original main card slot. That fight is expected to bring a lot of intensity, as both Dariush and Santini are known for their high-pressure styles and relentless pace inside the octagon. The decision to move Bo Nickal's fight could be based on the UFC's effort to balance the card and ensure the main broadcast delivers the most competitive and exciting matchups possible. For Bo Nickal, this move may come as a bit of a setback in terms of spotlight, but it could also serve as extra motivation. He's one of the fastest rising prospects in the UFC, and every time he steps inside the cage, there's massive attention on how far he can go in the middleweight division. Vieira, on the other hand, remains a dangerous opponent with elite grappling credentials, which means fans can still expect fireworks when the two finally meet on fight night. As for UFC 322 overall, the event continues to shape up into something huge, with multiple ranked matchups and several potential title implications across divisions. While some fans may not agree with the reshuffling, the card still promises action from start to finish. Whether on the main card or the prelims, Bo Nickal's fight will definitely be one to watch, and it could very well steal the show regardless of placement. Move on to another news. Charles Oliveira has finally responded to the recent allegations made by Max Holloway regarding their last fight, and things are getting pretty interesting. Just a few days ago, Max Holloway claimed that there was no injury found for Charles after their previous matchup, saying the doctors didn't detect anything serious when Charles was released following the fight. Those comments spread quickly, and fans began debating whether Oliveira had exaggerated the situation or if there was more to the story. Now, Charles has spoken out to clear the air. He addressed Max's claims directly, saying that everyone already knows he was in fact injured during that fight. Charles said, "Max is a guy I respect a lot. Based on my last fight with him, everyone knows I had an injury. He says I didn't, but I did have an injury." He went on to say that, despite the comments, he holds no bad blood toward Holloway, emphasizing that he still respects him both as a fighter and as a person. It's clear that Oliveira isn't interested in drama. Instead, he's focused on facts and moving forward. But his response also shows that he's ready for a potential rematch. He believes that if the two meet again, it will be a completely different fight, one that shows who truly deserves the victory. Charles seems motivated and confident, and his tone made it sound like he's more determined than ever to prove himself against Holloway once more. Fans have been buzzing online since Charles made his statement. Many believe this could set up a massive future bout between the two, a fight that would draw huge attention, especially given their skill sets and the respect they share for one another. Even though Holloway's comments sparked some controversy, it looks like both men are still maintaining professionalism, which adds even more anticipation for a possible second meeting inside the octagon. Charles also took time to explain that fighting through injuries has always been part of his journey. He's known for overcoming adversity, and he made it clear that this situation was no different. He said he's grateful for his team, his supporters, and his recovery, which allowed him to get back stronger than ever. With his latest response, it's safe to say that Oliveira has put all rumors to rest and is focused solely on what's next. Redemption and proving once again why he remains one of the best in the world. Move on to another news. Dan Hooker is gearing up for his long-awaited return to the octagon, and it looks like he's bringing some brand new weapons with him for his upcoming fight against Arman. The two lightweights are set to headline UFC Qatar on November 22nd, marking Hooker's first appearance of 2025. Fans are already buzzing about what kind of performance he'll deliver this time around. This will be Hooker's first fight since August of 2024, when he secured a hard-fought split decision victory over Mateusz Gamrot. Earlier this year, Hooker was actually scheduled to face Justin Gaethje in what many fans called a dream matchup, but a broken hand forced him to pull out and take time off to recover. That setback, however, might have been a blessing in disguise. Ahead of his clash with Arman, Hooker spoke with Heavyweight MMA, revealing that the injury allowed him to expand his skill set and focus on areas he hadn't worked on as much before. Hooker said, "Oh, I think everything will just be flying. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty dangerous at the moment. I just can't wait to get the pads off and start firing some knees and elbows downrange. Brother." He explained that being unable to use his left hand, his powerhouse weapon, for an extended period forced him to get creative. "My left hook was out of action for a while," Hooker said. "So it gave me a lot of time to work on other things I can crack people with. I'm excited to show that off for sure." Hooker's confidence seemed sky high heading into this fight, and he made it clear that fans can expect to see a more complete and unpredictable version of him. He's been working on mixing things up, from striking angles to clinch work, and he hinted that those infamous flying knees could make a comeback. For Arman, who's known for his dominant grappling and relentless takedowns, this matchup will be an intriguing test. Hooker's improved versatility could make it much harder for Arman to impose his usual ground-heavy strategy. But one thing is certain, this main event is shaping up to be explosive. Meanwhile, Arman seems relaxed and confident as well. In a recent clip making the rounds online, he was seen enjoying a massive feast ahead of UFC Qatar, clearly refueling before what's expected to be a war inside the octagon. With both fighters in top form, fans can expect fireworks when they finally collide later this month. Move on to another news. Chael Sonnen has reacted to the recent comments made by Henry Cejudo about Khabib, and as expected, he didn't hold back. During a recent episode of the Pound for Pound podcast, Cejudo made a bold claim, stating that his overall resume in MMA is more impressive than Khabib's. The former flyweight and bantamweight champion broke down why he believes his accomplishments outweigh those of the undefeated lightweight legend. Cejudo said, "I agree with you. Nurmagomedov hasn't done enough. He has not done enough. I've told this to Khabib. I don't want to fight with the dude, but we had a really heated conversation because I don't put Khabib in front of me. I really don't." He went on to explain that if Khabib had moved up in weight and captured titles in multiple divisions, then his argument would be much stronger. If Khabib would have gone up a couple of weight classes, with what he's done, you'd have to rank him highly. But I think he could have done a little bit more. I truly do believe Khabib could do amazing things. Even stylistically win a title at 185 pounds, even being a 55. Those comments quickly reached Chael Sonnen, who addressed them in a follow-up video on his YouTube channel. The outspoken fighter-turned-analyst made it clear that while he respects Henry's point of view, he strongly disagrees with the argument. Sonnen said, "Would I put Henry in front of Khabib solely based on the idea that Henry was willing to compete at multiple weight classes and Khabib wasn't? No, fun debate. Henry versus Khabib. GOAT status. Fun debate. Two wonderful careers, two championships, two divisions versus undefeated. It's very hard for anything to get in the way of undefeated." Chael went on to acknowledge that winning titles in multiple divisions is incredibly difficult and deserves respect, but emphasized that Khabib's 29-0 record speaks for itself. Going undefeated across 13 UFC fights and retiring as champion, Sonnen argued, places Khabib in a rare category few can ever reach. While discussing Cejudo's comments, Chael also took a moment to respond to Ronda Rousey's recent remarks about MMA fans. Rousey had criticized fans for turning on fighters after losses, saying they never truly support anyone long-term. Sonnen disagreed, explaining, "Nobody's even thinking about you except the ones in your home, your neighborhood, your community. Nobody has love or hate for you whatsoever." He added that fans don't actually dislike Ronda. They just move on. The part she got wrong, he said, is when she thought they were with her and loved her. They never did, and there's nothing mean about that. It's called being a fan. Move on to another news. Alex Pereira has reportedly ignored the UFC's medical advice regarding his recent foot injury. And while fans admire his warrior mentality, it might not sit too well with the promotion. Pereira, one of the UFC's biggest and most dominant stars, has been on an incredible run, but his recovery decisions have raised a few eyebrows. At UFC 320, Pereira began his second reign as the UFC light heavyweight champion by making quick work of Magomed Ankalaev in their highly anticipated rematch. Despite landing only a handful of strikes, Pereira showcased his devastating power once again, finishing the fight in emphatic fashion. However, after the win, the champ revealed that he had actually broken his foot during the bout. Recently, while speaking with MMA OY, Pereira opened up about how he handled the injury and admitted that he decided to go against the UFC doctor's recommendations. He said, "The UFC doctors told me to wear the boot for another 6 weeks. They told me to wear it for another 6 weeks, but I don't know. I got some more opinions. On one hand, it's good, but on the other hand, it could atrophy my foot a bit more, make it harder to move around and so on," Pereira continued, explaining that the pain had subsided relatively quickly after the fight. "The pain is okay now. After the impact, for a few days, a week, I was fine with the boot. I didn't take it off or anything, just for a shower. I think it worked right, and now it's fine. Walking is fine. If I kick, obviously it's going to hurt. But I think it's on the right track." His comments suggest that he's feeling confident about his healing process and believes that moving the foot naturally might speed up his recovery. But still, ignoring medical advice from UFC doctors can be risky business, especially when dealing with a high-level injury like a foot fracture. If Pereira's recovery continues to go smoothly, the UFC will likely overlook this decision. However, if any complications arise, and MMA gods forbid he ends up sidelined for much longer, the organization might not be pleased. Particularly if it impacts major plans like a potential mega fight with Jon Jones rumored for an upcoming White House card. For now, Pereira seems to be trusting his instincts and pushing forward, determined to return to action sooner rather than later. Move on to another news. Tom Aspinall continues to face heavy criticism following the controversial ending of his fight at UFC 321, where an unfortunate eye poke brought his bout with Cyril Gane to an abrupt halt. Since that night, fans and fighters alike have been divided, with some defending Aspinall's decision to stop, while others believe he should have continued. Now, surging heavyweight Walter Walker has joined the debate, slamming the champion for making the heavyweight division look bad. Walker recently spoke with James Lynch, where he didn't hold back his thoughts about the situation. He said, "He made the heavyweights look bad because we are big guys, strong guys. This guy poked you in the eye one time, they gave you 5 minutes to recover, and you pulled out of the fight. He made us heavyweights look bad. I think we are like gladiators from the new era." Walker's comments quickly caught fire online, sparking even more heated discussion about fighter toughness and safety in the octagon. To make his point stronger, Walker referenced his own experience from UFC 321, where he broke his leg mid-fight against Louis Sutherland but continued battling until he won via heel hook. "You need to give your maximum," he said. "I broke my leg and felt something was wrong, but I kept fighting to the finish. I gave my best because I know I work for the UFC. If something goes wrong, they'll pay for surgery, they'll take care of me. I'm not scared inside the cage." And then there's this guy who got poked in the eye and pulled out of the fight. While opinions remain split, the incident has reignited the long-running debate over eye pokes in MMA and whether more should be done to prevent them. Veteran referee Herb Dean also addressed the issue, confirming that the UFC is finally taking action. Speaking with Helen Ye, Dean said, "We have to try something. There's going to be a meeting where we go over that, and definitely something's going to happen." He mentioned possible rule changes, such as automatically taking a point for eye pokes, to discourage carelessness inside the cage. Dean also shared an alarming revelation that some fighters have admitted to committing fouls intentionally. "I've talked to guys after they've retired, and they told me every groin kick they threw was intentional," Dean said. "Some fighters are good people and don't mean it, but others know exactly what they're doing." Whether or not UFC 321 will be the final straw that forces a rules change remains to be seen, but one thing's for sure. Tom Aspinall's controversial night has left the heavyweight division under a massive spotlight. Move on to another news. Islam Makhachev talks about moving back down to fight Ilia. Although Islam has officially moved up to welterweight to chase that second world title, fans continue to dream about a potential clash between him and the featherweight king, Ilia. But with Islam's welterweight debut just around the corner, it doesn't sound like he's seriously considering a drop back to lightweight anytime soon. Islam vacated the lightweight title earlier this year so he could pursue the welterweight strap. The dominant champion is now set to face the new 170-pound king, JDM, at UFC 322 on November 15th. Before the move became official, talk of a showdown between Islam and Ilia was constant. Fans wouldn't stop debating who would win if those two technical monsters collided inside the octagon, and even after Islam confirmed his jump to 170, many still wondered if he'd eventually return to reclaim his old belt. Well, in a recent interview with Match TV, Islam was asked once again about possibly going back to lightweight for a blockbuster fight with Ilya. The interviewer pointed out that fans haven't stopped asking for it. Islam replied, "I think so. It would be nice. The fans are interested and so am I. This fight is the main thing people are talking about." But when pressed further on whether he personally wants the fight or if he's just acknowledging fan demand, Islam got real about how he feels. "How could it be interesting to me? What will I gain by going down to 155 and beating Ilya? Win the belt again? I already have it. The fans are mostly interested in it. I'm not interested in cutting weight to 155 and torturing myself again. I'm interested in fighting at 170, eating, enjoying camp, and fighting." Those words made it clear that Islam's focus is firmly on his new division. Still, the fight could eventually happen. Maybe not at lightweight, but at welterweight instead. Ilya himself has mentioned that he's open to moving up for a super fight, especially if Islam becomes a two-division champion. That would set the stage for something huge. During the same interview, Islam was asked a more playful question: who he'd choose as his 3 allies in a street fight. Arman was asked the same question earlier this year, and his picks were Khabib, Khamzat, and Islam himself. Islam's answer? He picked Khabib, Daniel Cormier, and Cain Velasquez. When the interviewer joked that Cormier is in his 40s now, Islam laughed and said, "Cormier can be thrown forward as a shield." Classic Islam humor: calm, confident, and always ready with a punchline.